So when someone comes out of a very protected environment, when someone comes out of that that boundary where there's so much of comfort, there is also a situation to say that now it's about sink or swim, right? Mentally, a lot of recalibration has to be done. A lot of people may also say that, mental recalibration from, and I'm going to ask very honest and very candid thought processes, right? Because one thought in mind is that if you come from a privileged background, and privilege, of course, because of the hard work of your family, hard work of the parents, but when you come from a privileged background, even dealing with those situations of sink and swim is far easier, because the essence of options of lifeboats is far stronger versus if you came from a not so privileged background. But a lot of people don't undermine, they don't understand, and they underestimate that there's also an aspect of mental wellness, which today a lot of people are talking about. In our generation and the age that we are from, there were a lot of things that we had to deal with, and the demons that we had to deal with were all inner and at our end. So, if today you have to go back and say that how you shaped up, tell us, a girl from Northeast, a girl from Assam, coming out, and again, why I ask this, because in a way, you're like a poster child and a Destiny's Child, if I may say so, for a lot of people to say that this is something that we want to have, we want to achieve, because if someone as real as you can do it, we can do it. Coming out of Northeast, getting into a decent law school, getting into a decent law firm, moving on the rungs, rather than dealing with those institutions, I want to deal with that mindset. Every time when challenges would come in, how would you recalibrate that mind of that little girl to come back and say that mindset is everything? A lot of people underestimate mindset. Circumstances can have gravity, circumstances can have springboard. They can pull you down, they can push you up. The mindset is what has to calibrate everything to say that we are stable. So take us through the evolution of that little girl from Northeast to one of the most talked about people from a gender perspective as women in private equity, in venture capital today. How has the mindset evolved? Go a little granular on your mindset.
So, childhood, like I said, was very, very protected. I didn't have to think about anything. I didn't have to worry about anything. My dad really took care of everything. My mom, my sister. So when I came out, there was this thing in my head that I have to make it by myself. It has to be me who's doing it, not because my dad is making a phone call or, my sister's telling me that this is how you should be doing it or whatever. So that was there. But just to take a step back, I got married really early at 19-20. This was my first marriage. Much against my parents' wish. Of course, they supported me when they knew that I was really hell-bent on getting married, but they did try to talk me out of it. I did go ahead and get married. So I'm talking about this because of the whole mindset question that you asked. So after many years, I decided to walk out of that marriage. So 2-3 things here. One is on the mindset question. For most people, and especially our society, they would probably look at this as a failed marriage. She failed. I don't look at it that way. I look at it as a marriage from where I have my 2 beautiful kids. How can that be a failure, right? I learned to be independent during those years. Because I didn't want to go running to my parents crying every time there was an issue or I had to deal with something. So I really learned, it was like what you said, I was thrown out there. I had to learn to swim. There was no way out. So I really learned to take care of myself, to take care of my kids. And So I was always someone who wanted to just be at home, take care of my family, not work. My mom and my sister feared that I will do something like that, and they kept telling me that there is no way we will agree to this marriage provided you I was in my third year when I got married. So provided you complete your studies and you work. And they made sure I worked, and I'm eternally grateful for that, because if I was not financially independent, I couldn't have walked out of that marriage. It's not like it was a bad marriage or anything, whatever, we grew apart, but
It happens.
I had that ability to make that decision for myself and for my kids because I was financially independent. And for all the women out there, I think that's the biggest message from me. And because of all these learnings from that marriage, I don't take that as a failure. I think things happen for a reason. I think everything happens at the right time, whatever's supposed to happen, and you need to accept it. And I think that's the mindset which has really helped me. So one is that not really looking back at failures and getting them to get me down, but instead just taking the learnings and moving on. I just keep moving forward. I mean, all of us keep facing failures on a daily basis.
True.
Whether it's something as small as feeling that I have failed as a parent, that's a constant guilt in my head. So you have to just keep moving forward and keep working hard. That's the other thing. I think hard work, you cannot avoid that. Even today at Saama, I think you work hard, you don't have to talk. Ultimately, your work is going to talk about what you have achieved or not achieved or whatever. So these two things. And then the third thing is also, and this has come with age, to accept things. And since you're talking about evolution, earlier when I started working, I came out of the Northeast to study, to work. It was like constant, no, how can this happen? I have to change it. I need to control everything. Now with age, I have learned to just accept a lot of things and just go with the flow, because if I don't do that, I am not happy. I am not at peace with myself. And when I'm not, then I can't give the way I want to give to my family and to my job. So I think that's been sort of the evolution. And the three main factors from the mindset perspective, one is, of course, not looking at anything as a failure. I don't. Second is hard work, just pure hard work. And third is accepting, that acceptance of things and understanding that things happen for a reason.
And they'll all fall in place.
Yes.
So I keep saying this, for me, one of the biggest things about failure is, and without going into any cliche construct, we all will continue to fail. We will always fail. We can't avoid failure in different aspects of life. What is important is, can we fail better every time?
Yes.
And people don't understand the power of failing better. Because when you fail better every time, the margin of error in your mind in terms of that issue keeps reducing.
True.
And that, I think, is one of the biggest equalizers in your mindset of trying to always bring in that essence of overachieving, saying, it's not enough, I want to do things in a particular way. It creates that internal mindset which is not peaceful. What you spoke about also in terms of the third bit, which is very important, is when you accept things in a particular manner, somewhere there's a derivative of also being content. Hard work, to my mind, there is no substitute. Because, no matter what, everything that we have done in our lives, hard work, there is no substitute. But these aspects of maturity, to say that if you can fail better, to aspect of maturity to understand that the derivative of being content has so much more added elements that just pass on and create.